You know how to make America great again? Make the Chinese build the high-speed railroad, just like they did it back in the days. Like, do it one more time. That'll be great.
I found out why China is so ahead in tech and everything despite having less resources than US. I'm telling you, it's because of the Chinese people.
To solve the problems the US face today, the answer is do not go extreme. Hi guys, today I want to talk about solution. I think to solve the problems the US face today, the answer is do not go extreme. Because systems alone cannot solve anything. The West is already obsessed with systems to the point of being trapped. The founding fathers of the US did create a system of checks and balance, the separations of powers. When the Soviet Union collapsed, the entire world believed this was the optimal system for humanity. So many people believed that America was destined to win and to keep winning forever. But who could have imagined that Americans today would suffer like this? The truth is, there is no perfect system in this world. Even the most ingenious designs cannot stop human greed and evil. Systems are rigid, but people are adaptable. If you want to exploit loopholes, you will always find a way. Therefore, the real solution always lies in people. If we keep thinking as selfish individuals rather than as a collective, even a perfect system will eventually fail and be broken. But now, most people's thinking fails to break through from the individual to the whole. We are too limited in perspective, too arrogant to see the value of contribution and sacrifice. As a result, when designing systems, humanity can only settle for good enough solutions. They may not fix problems at the root, but they can at least function. Today, China is walking a path of good enough. Some Westerners cannot accept our path. Even some Chinese struggle to accept it. Yet China's development repeatedly proved these doubters wrong. Why? The answer is just simple. Our leaders are just way better. I believe this is history's natural choice. We have just been a bit luckier. The US once had great leaders too, like Franklin Roosevelt, but this was a century ago. Your systems can produce good leaders, but right now you are just in a streak of bad luck. So for Americans today seeking change, start by neither completely rejecting your system nor blindly worshipping it. This reflects the philosophy of the doctrine of the mean. The world is fair. When you gain something, you must also lose something. You just can't have it all. If you over-prioritize freedom, capitalists will exploit the people. If you restrict freedom too much, the public will resent it. So balancing this degree is crucial. To be honest, good enough is already pretty damn good for our world now.
Wow, the billionaires in the United States surpassed the communist China. Way to go.
I found out why China is so ahead in tech and everything despite having less resources than US. I'm telling you, it's because of the Chinese people. I was in a toilet because in China people squat in the toilet, like they squat like this. Anyways, I was there and then I heard something. Cargo ship, 货船, sink, 下, goes high and rescue effort, 救援工作. Bruh, we're in the toilet, okay? We're supposed to only do two things in the toilet. One, the first thing, and the second thing. Basically, we're only supposed to do two things. And this person was doing English while doing the second thing. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, isn't it enough time for you? Because I was already in a study cafe. That study cafe is 24 hours. So that means like the whole time we're studying. And like going to toilet is supposed to be like a break. It's like a normal bodily response. And this person was in the toilet doing English. And when you wonder why China is so ahead in so many aspects, this is why, bro. Like, people here are crazy. Like, what the hell? I thought I was hardworking until I came here. I was like, wow, I'm really not hardworking. Everyone is so crazily hardworking.
A millionaire tax tea. Let's hold hands.
Because the wealthy people pay the tax.
The top 1%, the millionaires, pay 40% federal income tax. This is true, but they also hold 22% of the country's wealth, and most of that is not taxed. They borrow against their own wealth. Got 50 million in Amazon stocks? Cool. Take out a $10 million loan. No sale equals no tax. Diabolical or genius? You guys decide. Then you got the charity donations, the LLCs, the offshore accounts, the trust funds. These guys are not just like making it and serving it. They're eating it. Their taxes are optional. Yours gets deducted before it even hits your bank account. That's the damn difference.
I find it weird that we have this debate on taxing the rich or not. And I understand the pros and cons of that. At the same time, you have to understand how tax works and why it is important for the very wealthy to help the really poor. Because, I mean, how can you not? How should you not? I mean, it's like saying, you know, if you have so much, what does it cost to you to share some of that? As opposed to when you have so little, what can you even give? The tax system we have in United States of America really do benefit the very wealthy, right? We all got due taxes, and in many ways, we pay a lot of taxes as normal citizens or common citizens. Yet the very, very wealthy are paying almost none, and we're okay with it because the laws are designed.
You know, there's just something really refreshing about waking up in America these days. Waking up in an America where I'm soon to not have to pay any taxes on my yearly income because I make less than $250,000 a year, although it's pretty close. Waking up in an America where I know that my parents aren't going to have to pay any taxes on their Social Security. Waking up in an America where I know that it's okay for corporations to not have much to pay in taxes because I'm not paying much in taxes, and it makes it easier for them to want to reshore, to want to build here again, to have a lower tax rate than everybody else, not just on the consumer side, but also on the corporation side, to make one mega monolithic monster of an economy. I must say I do feel a little bit spoiled since I'm more inclined apparently than those that be when it comes to the stock market. I know that the stock market is entirely different than the American economy because on one hand, the American stock market could do what it's doing today and make it seem like it's crashing. But my company is still selling many of its products as we speak to America. And so as my products continue to sell, my money continues to grow in this fine-tuned operation here that we call the good old American economy, which is really isolationist in comparison to the rest of the world because we buy this shit from them, not vice versa. And soon we'll be buying it from us. But I do feel just a little bit gracious, grateful, thankful. My money's no longer going to funding bullshit, ridiculous left initiatives that have been perpetuated by the globalists. My country actually is a country again, and it has borders. When you look to the likes of EU, they've lost their identity entirely. It's pretty entirely scary if you ask me, and they're incarcerating those that would be persecuting Christians and those of the opposition. Sound familiar? While America's busy getting buckled down, tight-knit, reducing the restrictions on their own empire, and cutting the chains that bound thee, essentially removing slavery, modern-day slavery, from people like me and you. Because, let's be honest, if you're taxed to death, what's the sense in making money and working when you're just going to be taxed to death? And so that's just how I feel.
Chinese working culture 996. That means you have to go to work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and 6 days every week. There's a very funny news recently. One of the big company in China, they told people you have to leave the office before 8 p.m. Everybody loved that company. This is so ridiculous. So you can see how hardworking it is. This is the reason why China growing up very fast. I mean, some of the people have to sacrifice. As for me, I was working in London for a few years, and last year I was planning to go back to China. I get an offer from a small company in China. Guess how many days I have work? 6 days at least.
As somebody who's been studying economics for 18 years and been responsible for manufacturing products both domestically here in the United States and overseas in China, as well with partners in South America and Europe, I'm really astounded to see some of the opinions about the trade war. There's a huge knowledge gap, especially with a lot of the professional economists who are speaking on this, who just don't seem to understand that world trade and manufacturing technology is not in the same place in 2025 as it was in 2005. I keep hearing all this talk about Smoot-Hawley and NAFTA as if that is super relevant, but I'm seeing very little dialogue about the fact that over the past several decades, there's been a lot of very core technologies in manufacturing that have been developed fully in China. Politicians and pundits and economists talk about reshoring manufacturing in the United States. A whole lot of the stuff that we buy in 2025 was never made in the United States. They're products that didn't exist. There's a lot of stuff that has not only never been made in the US at scale, but has never even been made by US companies. Even if we narrow discussion down just to brushless motors, and you look at product categories like cordless power tools, hair dryers, refrigerators, washing machines, cars, although a lot of these products you buy might be coming from American companies or American brands, very, very little of the core technology that makes that product work was designed by American companies or by Americans. You just look at the research of brushless motor control, whether that comes from American universities, European universities, or Chinese ones. Look at the names of the researchers. You're not going to see a lot of Italian and German names, because at the mass manufacturing level, almost all of the development to get these technologies into our consumer products was not only done in China, but done by Chinese companies and Chinese scientists and engineers. The fact that you're not hearing anyone in the media or any economists talk about this just has to do with the fact that all these people who you're listening to about this topic don't know what they're talking about and have no experience.
You know what they should do in the trade war that we're having with China? They should just be like, listen, you want some computer chips? Okay, here's some computer chips. You come to America and build the infrastructure. Like, you come here, get shit done, build some factories, I'll give you some chips, and then we'll call it even. You know, like, that would be a really good trade.
Do you know why China won this trade war? They work. They're working. Just like I'm working. It's 5 o'clock. I'm going to work because I got shit to do.